Hey everybody, welcome back. Live at Drew's house, another edition, Joppa Afternoon Drive. Hope you are doing well. We're approaching one of my favorite time of year here, summertime coming in. That means music. That means a lot of tours. Seems like everybody in the world is playing music out of the pandemic, including this man, one of the best drummers in the land, a guy I have known for many, many years, Joe Pett in the house. What a treat. Hey, Joe.
How you doing, Drew?
Good to see you again, man. It has been a long time. How are you?
It certainly has. I didn't recognize you.
You look great, although I think my hair's longer than yours these days.
Probably. I just cut about 2 feet off it, actually.
Did you really?
Yeah.
No kidding. So you had me beat anyway.
Well, I figured, I got the pandemic haircut.
Yeah.
Didn't get it free and said, hey, let me just keep it going.
I did the same thing.
Did you?
Yeah, that's where I started.
It's pretty cool.
I got a cut once in between, but I don't know. My wife didn't notice. I was attached to the long hair. You know how that goes.
I do.
All right, Joe. Well, you are, as I mentioned, one of the best drummers around. Anybody in music circles who talks about the best drummers out there, your name always comes up. So,
well, thank you,
so how do you get to that level?
How much time we have?
Yeah, keep it simple. Yeah.
Actually, it's kind of it's a pretty quick story. Back in, I think like 70. Yeah, it was probably 70.
Yeah.
I had a band that was a great band. We were a club band, but we did original music and we did really unusual arrangements.
Yeah.
And I had a girlfriend. Naturally, you got your band and you got your girl, and both of them split up at the same time.
Oh, okay.
So I was a little confused, and where do I go from here? And I decided, that if I wanted to be serious about playing, that I need to do something. So I decided to start practicing. And I ended up practicing 6 to 8 hours a day for 18 months.
Wow.
So I came out of the basement, literally, we lived in a walk-in apartment in this building, on fire. And once I started playing, it was just, everybody just recognized my playing, and I got a lot of great offers.
Wow.
Played with some great bands. Not a lot of money, but we had a lot of opportunity.
Yeah.
So it was very cool.
Very cool. I mean, yeah. Let's just we'll talk more about history in a second, but let's fast forward because you immediately now jump out on a tour here to kind of kick off the summer, I guess. We know Aerosmith is taking a breather as Steven Tyler deals with some stuff, and Joe Perry's taking a band on the road, and the first call he made was to you, right?
I believe so.
How cool is that?
Well, Joe and I played together. We worked together for a couple of years. I toured with the Joe Perry Project back in probably about 82 to 85.
There was no small success there. You guys had to. That was a fun project. What do you remember from those days?
Well, the thing that I remember the most is that there's 2 words that make up the music business. Music is great. The business sucks.
Yeah.
You really have to be on the ball, and it taught me a lot. It taught me to be more involved, managerial-wise. You know what I mean? Kind of know what's going on, because anything can happen, and with all the work you put into something, it could just fall apart immediately.
Wow. Yeah, I know. Everybody always says that. It is a hard business, isn't it?
Oh, it really is. It really is. I mean, there's an example I used. First tour I did with Joe, the very first one, it was like a 3.5 month tour.
Yeah.
And we're at the 4th gig we did, we're at the Palace in Hollywood. And this gorgeous blonde walks up to me after the show, and I'm talking to a couple of friends in the dressing room, and she comes up and says, "Can I talk to you?" And I'm like, "Sure." In private. So I'm like, wow, I'm kind of liking this gig already.
I'm scared where we're going.
It's a good ending. It's a good ending. So we went down the hall because I guess they had orchestras in this place, they had plays and things like that. And she said, "I was in the audience. I heard you play. I love the way you play. A single's coming out in 3 months. I'd like you to be in the band." She basically offered me the gig.
Wow.
So I said, well, I'm on the road for maybe 3 to 4 months. I'm not sure if I can give a commitment. I don't want to tie you up, but, we'll stay in touch and see what happens.
Yeah.
As it turned out, the schedule was just way too much, and we just went into the 4 months, almost into 5 months on the road. And 3 months later, Take My Breath Away by Berlin was a #1 hit record featured in the Top Gun movie.
That is something.
But I attribute that to my loyalty. I really do. Because when I'm with something that seems to be going somewhere, I want to give everything I have.
Yeah, that would not have been cool to just bail on the band, right?
For a lot of reasons. I probably would have been blackballed.
Yeah, right? I know.
But, that's the way it goes.
And you probably even think about that when you see the new Top Gun movie out, right?
I'm interested in watching that.
Yeah, I haven't seen it yet either. You know, my wife had not seen the old Top Gun. How does that happen?
Really?
Yeah, we had to watch it the other night.
Do they have the same actors?
I think they have a lot of the same actors.
Really?
Yeah. Even with Val Kilmer.
Yeah.
I guess he has lost his ability to speak, but I guess
Really? Him too?
Yeah, yeah. Well, I guess they recreated his voice with technology though, and he's in it.
I should give them a call, find out what they did.
You're just overworked, right? You gotta.
No, actually, I had a few incidents back a few years ago.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but it's all good.
You doing all right?
Yeah. Yeah.
You excited about going on the road?
I am.
Yeah.
I am.
What's it? I mean, is it like just adrenaline start pumping when you think about it, or?
It's the thing I'm most concerned about is just the physical aspects of it.
Yeah.
Because-
Drummers are going, man. You watch a
Yeah.
drummer in these bands. I mean, it's.
Yeah.
Did they throw the set list by you guys, the front men? I feel like the drummer should be involved in the set list because like you're the guys working back there. My goodness.
Well, that's another introductory to a good story. When I auditioned, and I really didn't audition, we just got together with Joe
Yeah.
back in the '80s, and we went to a club, and it was at the golf course.
Okay.
His friend, one of his friends, everybody's a friend of Joe's,
Right.
owned this, this golf course with a venue that they had weddings, etc. So we set up the equipment right in the venue area, and we jammed for like a half hour, 40 minutes. And he turned around and said, "Yeah, man, you could play. You got the gig." I said, "Oh, great, man, thank you." I said, "When do we start rehearsing?" He goes, "No, man, you got the gig. You can play." I said, "I know this isn't King Crimson or some jazz, but you get stops, starts, crashes."
Yeah.
And he said he would not rehearse.
Really?
He would not rehearse. So I asked one of the guys who I knew, one of the engineers, if he could give me, because they taped off the board every night, give me a good show, because he just called the songs off. So that's what he did, and I put it in order, and I transcribed it, nothing fancy, just,
Yeah.
chicken scratches, so I know where the accents are, the stops, etc., which I'm probably going to, I better not say anything. I just asked him, I said, "Joe, could you play this list? Just until I feel comfortable, and then call off anything you want." So about 3 or 4 days, I just put the book down by my hi-hat and just turned the page.
Yeah.
And finally, I knew everything, and I said, "Whatever you want to do."
That is funny.
Yeah.
That's not easy.
No, because you have to focus on, you're not fully there.
Yeah.
You're reading something, so you can't physically put everything you have into it.
Yeah. See, it's not so much feel. It's a little bit of.
Yeah, it's a little bit of split personality.
Yikes.
Physical, mental, and okay, right down the middle. I got it.
Is that kind of? I wonder if a guy like Joe Perry knows that as a front man. Like I wonder if he knows he's being a little bit difficult, but he just.
I don't know what Joe knew back then. I mean, the band had issues. I mean, everybody knows it. It's history now, but he's really coming. I mean,
It's an amazing career.
yeah.
It really is.
No one gets the kind of shot that Aerosmith got.
Yeah.
I mean, they were completely given up on, and then they just blossomed,
Yeah.
bigger than they ever were before.
What were those worlds? I'm assuming you got to intersect with those worlds a little bit because just Joe bringing those guys. Do you know those guys, the Aerosmith guys?
Yeah, I played with Steven. I did a video with Steven. I played "Walk This Way" with him
Oh wow.
at a benefit concert I happened to be involved in, and
By all accounts, pretty fun dude to be around. Good,
oh, he's hilarious, man.
Yeah.
He'll do some really crazy things, and he's just a good guy.
And it's good. We wish him all the best.
Yeah.
We're going through some stuff, but I guess they're going to plan on being back out there in a few months, so we'll follow that. They have this. I don't know if it's his American Idol thing. They have that kind of thing where they resonate with like the young people too. Like
Oh, yeah.
I work with a 19-year-old kid. I don't know, might be 20, but walked in Aerosmith shirt the other day. I think he said he's got an Aerosmith tattoo. I'm like, really? No kidding.
You'd be amazed at how many young people
Yeah,
are still huge Aerosmith fans.
I know. Music is timeless, I guess, but
Yeah, I saw Steven on Joe Rogan
yeah,
show. I don't know if it was today or not. I didn't get a chance to take a look at the date. But he just wanted to, everybody thought he was just like the singer of Aerosmith.
Right.
So, and they were a band, and they were all equal partners. But he wanted to let people know that he had another life outside Aerosmith,
Yeah.
and that's why I took the gig at American Idol.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, it was a good thing for him, I think.
oh yeah, well it brought back recognition because he took a young audience from doing that show, and brought them to Aerosmith.
Yeah.
So it was a win-win for them.
You've, like I mentioned at the beginning, you talk to musicians around here, and everybody knows you. Who's the guy that, was there like one artist that like even Joe Pett was up there playing with that was like, I can't believe I'm up here playing with this guy or woman?
Jeez,
Like a little starstruck almost, like, wow, this is quite a moment.
I don't pay attention to that stuff. I really don't.
Really, yeah?
What I do, occasionally do, which I kind of stopped doing, is I'd go to some jams, some open mic stuff, just to kind of see where I was. I know I haven't played full time under full pressure and energy,
Yeah.
but it's like a box of chocolates. You don't know who's going to be on the stage with you.
Yeah.
So I kind of stopped doing that because these guys thought they were doing the right thing, and I'm like, no, that's not the way the song goes. And well, I might as well follow you because you're definitely not going to listen to me. So,
Yeah.
so it's a little odd, but
Yeah.
it's all good.
I know, it's, yeah, those things can be weird. How do you get in shape for a tour like this, though? You're about to go on the road for, I don't know how many nights, but it's going to be it's a physical test, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, being a drummer for so long, I've always been physically in shape.
Yeah.
And even when I stopped playing for a while, I didn't feel right because I wasn't in that mindset. My body wasn't where it should be or where it was used to being.
Yeah.
So I always stayed in shape. I always went to the gym. I used to run until I blew my knee out.
Yeah.
So I ride some bike and, do some aerobics, do some weights, and it
Yeah.
works.
I was reading about the music world lost a drummer in Taylor Hawkins not too long ago.
Yeah, and it was a shame.
I was reading some old interviews of his, and people were asking him about do you have a drink before you go to loosen up, or do you do coffee to get going? He goes, "You kidding me? I don't do anything. I have to be there 100%. I
yeah.
mean, this is a race to the finish line. I'm going a million miles an hour the whole time."
He's absolutely right. Yeah.
Yeah,
It really is.
That's how it is, huh?
Yeah.
Man, so I mean, it probably is good. I would imagine not so much young Joe Perry maybe, but I would imagine that a lot of these frontmen these days are throwing like set lists by the drummers, right? Isn't that like kind of a nice thing to do?
I don't think that's going to happen because
You're still not going to get that.
I can't be caught off guard.
Right.
I have to know where I'm going.
Yeah.
It's like taking the GPS and programming to the end of the show.
Yeah.
I need to know where the turns are, where the stops are, where there's a little banter with the audience, so I get a little time to kind of catch up on where I need to be for the next tune. It's not as, it used to be, but when that's a pretty high pressured gig, no matter who you're playing with.
Yeah.
And I've played with a lot of really interesting people.
Who's the best like straight up like guitar player you ever played with? You were just digging back there behind the kit.
Well, I got to be honest with you, Joe was amazing.
Joe, yeah. I
He
thought
was
it might be
amazing.
the answer. Yeah.
The way he had his equipment set up, he would like play these effects, and it was in stereo on the stage.
Yeah.
So you'd hear a helicopter
Yeah.
come right across from left to right, and then it would just break into like this bend and just keep it up on the top of the scale. And he was amazing.
Yeah.
But you had to watch out where that line was in those days, you
Yeah.
know. But he's right on.
Of
it.
just like going over the top, you mean? Or?
Just on, well, back in the
Yeah, okay.
80s, everybody was doing,
Yeah. True.
some experimental
Different
things.
time, yeah. All right, so that line, that's a whole different element, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you take that stuff. All right, what about like take guitar out of it? Who's like the best like musician, band leader? Like who's the person that you just love being on stage with, just as getting a good groove?
That's a tough one. Actually, I have a friend of mine who's an amazing funk jazz guitarist named Bruce Bartlett.
Okay.
He taught at Berkeley, and he still does, but he's such a good teacher that once these students graduated and they went back to Europe, China, wherever they were from, they continued studying with him.
Wow.
And I just love playing with Bruce. But I played with Fred Lipsius from Blood, Sweat, and Tears.
Yep.
He arranged Spinning Wheel, won a Grammy for that.
Wow.
I co-produced Buddy Guy
Yeah.
with Jimmy Miller, who produced 5 Rolling Stones albums, played drums on You Can't Always Get What You Want, and that was a classic experience, but Jimmy was caught up in the scene, and
Yeah.
he never finished the project. His idea was to get Buddy to come into the studio, which we did.
Yeah.
He had a gig, and then it was in Rhode Island. We brought him to the studio.
Right.
And we just played 12 songs or whatever it was, 14 songs. And Jimmy's idea was to get, he influenced so many great players. Clapton,
Yeah.
Santana, Hendrix, Nils Lofgren, Joe. So he had all these rock stars,
Yeah.
or guitar heroes who were influenced by Buddy Guy, but he hadn't made it at that time. So what Jimmy did, knowing everybody in the world, he contacted all these different people and said, listen, this is what we're doing. Love you to help. And they were all willing to do it. Said, here's the tracks. Pick a song. I'll fly the tapes out. If you're in England, I'll come to England, rent the studio for a couple of hours. Jimmy Page was involved.
Wow.
I met Jimmy, and we talked about this. He never got a chance to do it because Jimmy had passed away prior to that. But it was amazing. It was an amazing idea. He was just such a creative person.
Yeah.
And then what he ended up doing was halfway through the project, he couldn't finish it.
Really.
And I was kind of sad
It was
because,
painful for all you guys involved.
yeah. Well, that's the negative side of the business,
Yeah.
I mean, it comes with the territory. I don't think it's as prevalent as it was in the past,
Yeah.
but it's still happening. But in the past, it was wild. It was like the Wild West.
Yeah, no, I know. Hopefully you learn from those. I mean, that's kind of the goal is people learn from that. But I mean, it's still, we just talked about it. Taylor Hawkins. I mean, that seems
Yeah.
to be, he was struggling with life on the road too.
Did he have a drug problem?
Well, the story with him, I guess when he was open about it was, I think 15 years ago, he OD'd in Miami.
Really?
And that, obviously created issues with the band. I screwed up. He had to talk with Dave Grohl. But I was one of those interviews I was reading about him after he died. It was like the last interview with Rolling Stone. And they asked him, are you completely sober now after that? Like, you say you don't do anything while you're playing, but, are you sober in general? And his answer, I remember thinking his answer was a little bit strange, especially knowing that he had now passed away. He said, let's move on. I got kids now, and I don't want the story of Taylor Hawkins to be, I don't want the story about dad to be this, and this. I screwed up 15 years ago. I've moved on. I'm in a good place. And that was kind of it. Yeah. But he definitely didn't come out and say, like, a lot of people would.
Well, it's part of the lifestyle.
Yeah.
Whether you like it or not, it's either you go with the flow or you sit in the corner while everybody else is partying and having a good time and doing whatever they're doing. And sometimes people are capable of doing that.
Yeah.
I kind of like having fun, so.
And it's late nights, it's sleeping in, all that stuff plays a role, right?
Yeah, yeah, it really does.
I mean,
it's tough.
It is. Again, Joe Pett joining us, one of the finest drummers around, about to go on tour for, I guess, how long are you planning on going out for?
It's about 2 weeks, 3 weeks.
So you crunch it all in, huh?
Crunch time.
Ready to roll.
Yeah.
Do you, just no open mics to tune up, right? You're not going to go out there and...
I don't think
You
so.
don't
Well,
think
I don't mind. I may just go and not pay attention to what's going on on the stage and just do what I want to do.
Yeah, there you go. I'm sure Joe's a little more. He doesn't care as much anymore, right?
I need to be able to know where I am physically. That's my.
Look at you though. You look great.
Well, that's one thing. Sitting behind a kit and whacking them, like you're tearing down a house is another thing,
Does 2022 Joe Pett pace himself a little bit more than 30 years ago?
I don't think there's anything about pacing.
Nothing about pacing?
You have to be able to do whatever is presented.
Yeah.
So you have to just be on the top of your game, or you're going to struggle through it.
So you're not worried about it at all?
Well, the thing I like the most is that they're using LED lights now and not 10,000 watts coming down on top of you.
Yeah.
Because it was like sitting in an oven most of the time, back in those days.
Oh, I can picture that.
Yeah.
What a description, yeah. I mean, you played on some big stages. I mean, what was the toughest arena? You vividly remember like the lights?
Well, it was a day show actually. It was at Pocono Downs. We played in front of about 50,000 people.
This was the Joe Perry project?
Yeah.
Okay.
We played with Joan Jett, Cheap Trick, Crocus, Foghat. It was a great show.
Yeah.
But I think people get the wrong impression. They say, what's the biggest place? Sometimes that's not the best. Because by the time you get eye contact with the first row of people, they could be 25 to 50 yards away.
Yeah.
Because, you got this huge stage, you got security in front of them, and then you got the audience.
Yeah.
I mean, I've played it like Jonathan Swift's in Harvard Square, and the people are on top of it. But I'm playing to these people. I'm looking like within 10 feet of them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And the energy just changed. My tech was enjoying the show, but he was the closest person to me.
Yeah.
So it's not what people perceive it as.
Yeah. I mean, I guess that's what people mean, because I've heard sometimes people will say it doesn't really matter to me if I'm playing in front of 100 people or 50,000. Like it's kind of just
Right.
a sea of whatever.
Right.
And I guess that's at those bigger levels. But yeah, I can completely understand that. You mentioned Nils Lofgren a little while ago. He's been a guest on this show actually. Nils is a good man, and he told me that playing with Bruce, and especially as they've gotten older, and Bruce likes to try a lot these longer tours. He'll give them the freedom, and he'll encourage the guys, try this,
Yeah.
take this, see if it works, try this, and then maybe we'll put it in for the show, but try it. Granted, that takes rehearsal, which but do you like that in a band leader? Like, let's try to experiment a little bit.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't stop creativity.
Yeah.
You just can't say, let's do this, because then it gets stale and you're just playing a part. But when the band is rocking, everybody is on the same page. You can feel when somebody wants to go out.
Yeah.
And you let them go. And you can feel when you need to just lay it down and let somebody else take it off. That's the magic. That's what the best part of playing with people, with pros, is all about.
Yeah.
And you can do that with some people, but some people, like especially classical musicians, I don't know if it's as much now, but they're so strict and regimented.
Yeah.
They have to play the part. And I guess you can feel that, you can enjoy that and experience
Yeah.
it, but it's nothing like magic, like an instant gratification, like, wow, did you hear that?
Yeah. Sometimes that becomes more like a Broadway thing, where it's like the same show every night. They're going to play that piece and lay
Right.
it down, whereas there's
Right.
no room to kind of go anywhere
Exactly.
else. Yeah.
Exactly.
No, I completely understand that. Again, Joe Pett joining us. So what is the, I mean, you're getting ready for this thing. And I think probably, what was it, 3 days before I saw that you landed this and you were going to go out on tour. I think we're Facebook friends, and I think I saw you post about, I'm just having this itch to play.
That was amazing, wasn't it?
Isn't that crazy, right? You got
That was amazing.
Do you think Joe Perry saw that?
I don't.
Yeah.
I don't.
Just coincidence, right?
I don't. Yeah.
Nature working.
I miss it. I miss it. I mean,
Pandemic didn't help. I mean,
no, not at all. But actually, pandemic helped, because what I did is I had nothing to do.
yeah.
And I have an electronic kit right 3 feet behind me,
banging
so my
away.
neighbors can't complain.
Yeah.
And my chop, it was just like, wow, I remember this. I'm pretty good.
Yeah.
So it just gave me some energy. And then once things cleared up, I started playing with a couple of different bands, and there was this one band that I don't want to mention their name that was excellent.
Yeah.
And they played all classic rock tunes, great vocals, all the greatest songs, Foreigner, Journey, AC/DC. I mean, the best of the best. And I was like, wow, this is great.
Yeah.
And then I played a gig, and one guy in particular in the band was just a little, like, I didn't play the ending correct. I said, what if I created the song and that was the ending I wanted to use?
Yeah.
They just had this club mentality,
Yeah.
and they just want to play it just like the record. But even the people who make the records don't play it just like the record.
Right.
And you can't convince them of that, because they're trying to do a perfect rendition
Yeah.
of these classic artists. And
You're not Tom Petty. Don't try to be Tom Petty.
no, exactly.
You're right.
I mean, I like the idea of the tribute bands. I think it's great.
Yeah.
I actually had an idea a couple of years back where I work with these 3 brothers who are awesome. They were great musicians and great singers. In fact, it was so good vocally
Yeah.
that because they were brothers, they had the same timbre in their voice. So when they sang harmony, it sounded like they did overdubs in the studio.
Yeah.
It sounded too good to be true.
Yeah.
And we wanted to I wanted to put the best of the classic progressive bands. Like, Yes. Yes was a great band.
Yeah.
Vocally, instrumental. Journey, Genesis, because these people could play as well as sing.
Yeah.
And I just wanted I wanted to enjoy it. And I figured, we'd make it a classic experience.
Yeah.
And instead of just doing, the typical, Journey tribute,
Right.
Guns N' Roses tribute. You know, it's
Yeah.
I don't know. That's just me though.
No, I hear you. Yeah, the tribute thing is I've done a few of them. You know, just I wouldn't say I'm a huge fan of them, but there's a spot for it. You know,
Oh, yeah.
I think I remember we had a family outing. It was actually a Tom Petty one, and I remember for some reason my cousins and we all play this song. I don't know if you know it. It's called "Crawling Back to You." It's not one of his big hits, but
You
it's,
were playing?
No, we were at the show, but
Oh,
we
okay.
will play it around the campfire a little bit. Like I can play a little poor man's guitar this year, and I get some cousins to do the same. And we've learned "Crawling Back to You" as we sing around. But it's not a popular Tom Petty song. So my other cousin I play this with at the campfire decides to yell. We've had a couple of beverages and yells the band "Crawling Back to You," and the front guy hears us and knows the song, but the band doesn't know it, and he goes, "Next time." Next time.
That's funny.
I know, but I don't think he played it next time either. But no, those tribute bands they're interesting. What's the greatest Boston venue you've ever played at? Whether just best experience, doesn't have to be the biggest, doesn't have to be the most established. What would you say?
I think the Channel
The Channel.
was probably the best
Yeah.
venue for live music. It held about 3,000 people, I think, and
Wow.
and we did. I played quite a few shows there with a number of different bands with Luna, Berlin Airlift, Joe Perry,
Yeah.
and it was just a perfect place to be if you're not out on the road doing a tour.
Yeah.
But there weren't that many. There were more places. The Paradise was nice.
Yep.
It was a little bit classier because it had different levels and nice
Yeah.
sound system. Everything was stationary.
Have you been
the
in there in
Rat-
recent years, Paradise?
I have.
How much has it changed?
It really hasn't changed.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's.
But I haven't seen a performance there. But I've been there. There've been parties there that I've been to.
Yep.
But I haven't really gone out to see a band there.
Yeah. I have. It's an interesting. That's the first thought I get is it's probably the same looking place as it was 20 years
Yeah.
ago. But
Well, you know what was awesome? It was the Rat.
right, yeah.
That was just
I
like,
never got to go there, but
well, what they did was they had a place called, I think it was CBGB's in New York, and they started exchanging bands. So at the time the Cars were playing the Rat, they would play, CBGB's in New
okay,
York.
yeah.
And the bands that were big, like Blondie,
Yeah.
would play at the Rat, so they were just exchanging.
yeah.
And it was really cool.
Speaking of Boston bands, did you get into the Cars?
I love the Cars. I love the production. I love their records. But
Yeah.
I've never really. I saw them back in the day at the Rat, places like that. But when they hit the big stage, they really weren't very energetic.
Didn't quite translate. Yeah.
Well, not even translate. They really didn't move. They just stood there and played.
Really.
Yeah. Ben Orr had a fabulous voice,
Yeah.
but there was just no energy on the stage,
Yeah.
It was kind of like contrived in a sense, but the parts were they worked with Roy Thomas Baker. The production was amazing. The
Yeah.
vocals were amazing, but they stood there. I wanted to see like Van Halen.
Yeah.
I wanted to see.
What's the best show you've ever seen?
Oh, that's a tough one.
In the crowd for?
That's a real tough one. I'm kind of a progressive, lean toward the progressive style, like King Crimson,
Okay. Yep.
Gentle Giant.
Yeah.
I mean, these were bands that could play. They were just amazing players,
Yeah.
and they were mixing stuff in quad, so it wasn't just like seeing a band. It was like an audio experience as well.
Yeah.
But I don't think I can pin it down.
All
Anyone.
right. We won't hold you to that one.
Pink Floyd.
Pink Floyd.
Pink Floyd.
Okay.
I saw Pink Floyd and I was blown away.
Yeah.
Blown away.
He's still doing it, Roger Waters.
Yeah. I haven't seen or really followed too much of what he's been doing, but
He was playing like Fenway Park, like right
Has
before the
he?
pandemic.
Really?
Yeah, he was doing I remember the advertising. It was the wall in front of the wall. The Green Monster.
yeah. When I heard Dark Side of the Moon for the first time, I was blown away.
Really? Yeah.
I had never heard anything like that
Yeah.
in my life. It just opens you up to just,
Honestly, it's still kind of like that. I mean, who has? Nobody really went in that. I mean, people have tried, but I mean,
Yeah.
there's nothing. That's an all-time great album.
I saw a documentary on them
Yeah.
not too long, maybe a week ago.
Oh.
And it blew, these were like behind the scenes kind of documentaries.
Yeah.
And in Us and Them, the woman who sang, just scattered.
Yeah.
I didn't realize she did that in one take.
Wow.
and she was white.
Wow.
You know, you would think you'd get, gospel
Yeah.
black lady to just belt it out like that. And she was just a little blonde, and I was,
Yeah. Not who you pictured. Yeah.
no, not,
Yeah.
but that stuff's kind of cool. I like looking into,
Yeah. Are you a little bit of a music historian? I feel like you eat it up. You just love learning all this. I mean, you lived it, so you don't have to go back and read books. But
it's not that I'm a historian, but I remember and cherish what I remember of the experience.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not an historian like some people are with baseball and football.
Yeah.
They know all the players, they know the stats, they know this.
Yeah.
That's not quite how I view music.
Yeah.
I view the experience that I personally had. And it's amazing what people could do.
Was there a story? I was trying to remember back in the day. I thought when I was younger, I remember talking to you about this. But was there did you guys open for Jay Giles, or did you meet Jay Giles? Was there a Jay Giles
yeah.
story with you?
Berlin Airlift.
Okay.
We were offered to open for Jay Giles' holiday tour, which happened to be their last holiday tour.
Wow.
They would do Providence Civic Center, Worcester Centrum, 3 nights, and in the middle of New Year's Eve.
Wow.
Portland, Providence. Oh, I mentioned Providence, and Hartford.
Okay.
So there were 6 dates.
Yeah, yeah.
And 3 of them were at the in Worcester Centrum. And it was amazing. They had 600 people on the guest list backstage. They had popcorn machines and hot dogs and all kinds of
Carnival backstage.
yeah, little living rooms they made out of dressing rooms, for the sports teams.
Yeah.
It was pretty amazing. I actually played with 3 of the Jay Giles players back in 2014. A friend of mine put on this show called the Boston Legends Tour. And he called me up and he asked me if I'd be interested in playing. So I said, wow, yeah, that'd be great. What I didn't realize is that, Charlie Farron, John Butcher, Jay Giles, all these different people were making individual performances. So all they had to do was go on and play 3 songs that they know.
Yeah.
I had to learn everything because I was the drummer of that show.
Yeah, yeah.
And that was only 6 dates too. And it was within a week and a half. We got a tour bus. They brought in lights. I was like, wait a minute.
Wow. That's 2014, but.
Yeah, you're going a little bit far out here.
Yeah.
We played the music hall in Portsmouth,
Yeah.
New Hampshire, which was a beautiful theater. I didn't realize how nice looking that theater was.
Yeah.
And then we played out in Pittsfield, Mass.
Okay.
They had a nice older theater that they turned into a.
So that's how many years later? When was the holiday run? That was that was the height of Jay Giles, but back then, or?
Oh, that was a while ago.
So I thought I remember you telling me. I don't know why this stuck with me, and maybe you could tell me as soon as I get a fact wrong. You can stop me. But I think I remember you saying that there was like a snowstorm and like you guys had to like delay a little bit because they were like late getting there or something.
Oh, that was the gig.
Is that true?
That was the gig.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they were all handing out Quaaludes, I think, the night before. And we were on the stage.
Yeah.
And we had, a 35-minute set. Well, we were opening act.
Worcester?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The stage manager came up and said, keep playing. The band isn't here yet. So we just had to expand the set. I did a drum solo, and, my first drum solo in a huge theater like that, or a venue.
Worcester Central.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was pretty amazing. But on that Boston Legends tour, I think Magic Dick, Jay Giles,
Yeah.
and Danny Klein, those 3 were the 3 members of Jay Giles that I played with. But they didn't play any Jay Giles music because Jay is kind of a jazz guitarist. I don't know how many people knew that.
Yeah.
And, I was like, guys, you got to play. We have a jammer. What are you doing?
That is hilarious. Oh man, these are the ones that you got it done, obviously.
Yeah. It was fun. It was fun.
Yeah.
I don't think I was prepared for it, though, because it just came out of nowhere and I didn't have much time to prepare. So,
That is too funny.
but it was good.
Well, I mean, I'm excited to have you back out there, man. I know. Go see the Joe Perry. Is he billing it as the Joe Perry project, or does he even know yet?
I know nothing.
You know nothing. You'd have to kill me if you told me. I understand. Well, you're getting back on tour. I know you're thrilled about that, so I'm happy for you, man.
Thank you,
You
man.
look great. I know you said you don't sound great, but that's just because you're working a lot. And if you catch you guys on tour, what are you going to see?
You're going to see a rock and roll band, man. A band that's going to be kicking ass
Yeah.
long into the future, I'm sure.
Do you ever, final question here from me, again, Joe Pett, this has been a pleasure talking music. Do you ever look back at, I know you have plenty of friends who were fantastic, that you probably grew up with, that were great players and have not had this kind of run. Do you ever look back and go, man, I'm still here after all these years, still doing this and still going on tour? It must be kind of surreal.
I'm lucky. I'm fortunate. But at the same time, for the longest time, you can just, you get very excited about a project you're doing, and then it has nothing to do with you or the band members, but management might make a mistake.
Yeah.
Your attorneys might make a mistake. There's always outside influences. And then when you fall down, you have to have enough gumption to get up and just keep going. That's the biggest thing.
Yeah.
Because there's always distractions along the way.
You're excited, I can tell. Get back out there and get playing.
Thank you, brother.
It's been a long run. Joe Pett, thank you so much for joining us. That was a pleasure. Hope you guys all enjoyed that. That's going to do it for this one. Another edition live at Drew's house. Thank you to Sarah Blackstone, Caroline Clark, Sarah Hayden, all producing the show. And thank you guys for tuning in. Joe Pett, that was fun.
Thank you, man.
Until next time, live at Drew's house. Peace.